Are you a bike nerd? In this video, we're going to take a look at 3 uber bike nerdy tools and gadgets. The first one is this thing. You're probably wondering what the heck this is, what's it for, where's it go on your bike? And this is an invention by our friend Han Rossmann. Han, if you don't know, he's a frame builder. He's finished PvP, I believe, a couple times. He's been a contributor to Bicycle Quarterly as well as consulting with Renee Erst, so he knows some things. And this cool product solves a problem for the modern randonneur and bike packer. Essentially what this is it allows you to mount a Garmin or a Wahoo to any bag. The way it works is it has a lot of rare earth magnets. You want to be careful when you use this thing because it'll bite your fingers and cause some serious bruising. Don't ask me how I know. But basically what you do is you put one half under a bag, let's say a rando bag or something, and the other half on top. And now you have it mounted to a bag. And then you take your Garmin or your GPS device of choice, you mount it on there, and bam, you've got a GPS mounted to a bike bag where it usually wouldn't work. So if you're running a Caredive style bag, you know it eats up a lot of real estate. Well, here you can put it directly on the bag. I can vouch for how strong these magnets are. I highly doubt this would ever pop off just from the strength of the, I think I counted like almost 20 rare earth magnets. I'm gonna pop this off so we can take a closer look. So here it is. Like I said, you want to be super careful when you attach it because that'll bite your fingers. On the bottom side, this would be under your bike bag. It actually has a area here so you can put an Apple AirTag. So I don't know if someone walks away with your bike and this is on there, or you could just leave your GPS device when it's not on your bike. And you know, if you've ever misplaced your GPS device, you know that they don't have a built-in Find My. This solves that problem as well. Aside from Caredive style bags, you can put this on the traditional boxy style rando bags. A lot of them have a vinyl map case, and because we're in 2024, a lot of people aren't using maps, but they are using these things, and that map real estate goes to waste. But this lets you put your navigation on any of those boxy style rando bags. I've been testing this for the last couple weeks on a lot of different rides and some short mini tours on gravel. Not so much single track, but mostly gravel and road. And there's no way the magnets are going to separate. Just trust me, there's a lot of magnets on this thing. The material itself is 3D printed carbon infused PET filament. And like I said, it'll work both with Garmin and Wahoo. They're essentially the same mount, just the orientation's different. So all you literally have to do is turn this 90 degrees and it'll work just fine. In my experience so far, the connection is pretty secure. If you're paranoid or if you're going to go on some single track, you could, of course, still use the leash on your Garmin or GPS device and put that around your stem just for added protection. I know the first question you're going to ask is, don't the magnets affect all the GPS wizardry? And in my experience, it hasn't, or at least to not any noticeable degree for myself. Maybe if you need ultra precise metrics, it might cause some deviation, but honestly, it hasn't affected navigation. When I look at the data on Ride with GPS, nothing looks off or askew. So in my experience so far, I would say no. I think this is a pretty cool product. It has lots of uses. I could actually use this so you can attach your Garmin to a backpack or any other thing with like soft fabric. It doesn't have to be a bike, so that adds a lot more functionality and utility to your GPS devices. And pretty slick. So Garmin on one side, AirTag on the other. And like I said, if you do buy this, I'm going to give you a tip. You cannot pull this apart. You have to slide it off like so. And when you put it back together, I would suggest not doing it this way, but giving your fingers some room and working it on like that. I can't stress like how strong these magnets are, and they will bite your fingers. I got bit somewhere and the bruise is only just starting to heal, so be forewarned. Right now you can get this on a German website, I believe, called Graham Tour Packing. I'll put the link below. The next nerdy bike tool is for the cyclist who's ever asked, what tire will fit in this bicycle? This one is also from Han Rossmann. This is completely not sponsored. He's just a neighbor of mine and we nerd out on bike things. It's composed of a couple parts. It's got a dummy axle here if you're measuring up a bike with a quick release. If you've got a bike with a through axle, you just use the through axle on your frame. This long piece here has a couple of slots that emulate common rim diameters. You've got a slot here for 26 inch, for 27.5, and for 700C. Then you have a variety of these different tire profiles that will emulate the rough size of said tire. So you've got one for 48, 42 millimeter, 38 millimeter, 34 millimeter, even 23 millimeter. Can you believe people rode bikes with tires this small? And then the big end, the 61 millimeter. So this is 23, this is 61. Let's say you've got a bike and you're curious if it will take 650B by 48. You would choose this middle slot here for 650B, put in the tire profile for 650B by 48. Assuming your bike has through axle, you would attach your through axle in your frame, either the front or the rear. And with the profile size you're curious about, you can see if it will indeed clear that tire. Let's go see what it looks like on an actual bike. Okay, so let's see how this thing works in action. We're gonna check the fit of a 700 by 38 tire. So I've got the little bulb for 38. I stick that in this slot for 700C. Then we take the whole thing, we put the hook on the through axle and try to find the center and then pass it through. And this will help us visualize the tire width and also the height. As tires get wider, they also get taller. So this lets us see that. So one cool thing is we can check two tires at the same time. So let's do 650B by 48 and 700 by 38. You can see the comparison here that the 650B by 48, although it's wider, is a little bit shorter. Again, we can pass this through here and you can see where the 700 by 38 will end up and where the 650B by 48 will end up, and how much height you're going to lose if you go 650B. So that could be a point of concern, especially if your bike has a low bottom bracket. It gives you a little bit more insight into how the tire will affect the frame. So just out of curiosity, let's see if it'll take 650B by 61, a big one. So here, this would be a no-go. If we put it in the 26-inch slot, a no-go. So pretty interesting. So it's a great and useful tool, but I do want to give a quick caveat. All these profile shapes work on the assumption that tires will come out to their stated value. And if there's anything we know about tires, what its final shape is so dependent on internal rim width, the tire itself. Sometimes tires can be 3 mils smaller than the stated size. Sometimes they're 2 mils wider. So take this information with a grain of salt, taking into account there is some margin for actual tire width. Regardless, great tool to at least give you a ballpark sense if something is going to work or not. I think the smartest way to use this tool is measure what you're going to measure and assume a worst case scenario where the tire might end up 3 mil wider than this kind of theoretically perfect width. Just to give yourself some room for error. The material is made out of acrylic and it's laser cut. This, I believe, you can get from HonSite directly. I'll put that link in the description below. The last gadget is this guy. This is a bike bell by the Japanese brand Crane. I got a peek of this at Eurobike. This just landed in the mail today. Basically, it takes their classic brass bells and mounts them in a roadie-friendly way. Super easy to access when you're riding in the hoods. You get the classic Crane sound. So nice, bright and clear. If you do any riding where there's a bike path and you've got to warn fellow cyclists, pedestrians, scooter users, or if you're just commuting, definitely handy to have a bell close to your hands if you're riding on the curly bars. And this is a great bell to have. This just landed, so I'm going to ride with it a couple weeks. Might do a follow-up video. But I suspect, having used other Crane products, it's pretty solid. So unless something goes horribly wrong, I'm sure it'll be fine. It comes with 2 sets of screws of varying lengths. So I'm going to mount this over the bar tape. If you're really committed to this and love it, you can mount it directly to the handlebar and wrap the tape around it. That'll make it a little bit smoother to use when you're in the drops itself. I've tested this on some Tiagra levers and it doesn't seem to interfere with the throw. I've not tested it with mechanical SRAM or Microshift. I know Microshift has longer throw, so there might be some problems with that, but for Shimano, no problem whatsoever. And clearly, if you do the electronic shifting, you're just pushing buttons, so you'll be fine. So cool product from Crane. Again, links in the description below. Full disclaimer, these products were sent to the channel with no charge to review, but I'm also not getting paid. I don't get any affiliate link kickback. These were just really cool bike nerdy things that I personally enjoy and actually use and wanted to share with you guys. But if you guys do want to help support the channel, join us on Patreon, pick up some stickers, all that good stuff. And as always, keep the supple side down.